Thanks, Peter, and good afternoon, everyone. I know I'm standing between you and lunch now, so I'll try to be brief. I'm excited to see so many students in the audience. Can I ask just a question to the students? Who wants to become an artisan? Who wants to become a plumber?
Yeah.
Who wants to become a painter? Who wants to become a motor mechanic? Who wants to become a teacher? Okay.
What about a welder?
I think colleagues and students, it's a clear indication of how misunderstood the TVET sector is in this country. And it's misunderstood because of the negative narrative around it. And I just listed few there. There are a lot of question marks about the quality that comes out of the TVET colleges. There are articulation challenges. There's also poor linkages with the general education and training. Hence, most of the students who are here, believe you me, they've got no clue, most of them, what is happening in the TVET colleges. There's also issue of quality of the lecturers. If you check, there's no university that offers a structured program of when you want to become a teacher at the TVET college. And most of them, if not all of them, they're isolated from the economic realities of this country. But also the third thing, the perception out there is that when everything else has failed, you can go and try TVET college. I now want to talk about the reality now, not about the perception. This sector is well structured and informed by a good policy. There's also a constitution, if you look at the chapter 2 of the Bill of Rights, that guarantees everyone to access this sector. And if you look at how the sector is structured in terms of its funding, in terms of its model, in terms of its policy, is similar to the Scandinavian and German model. And for this audience information, those countries, because they effect this policy, you find that in those countries, unemployment rates are below 4%. But the question that we have to ask ourselves, if we are using similar model, why are we sitting at double digits currently of unemployment? And currently, it depends which template you use. We are between 26% to 40% of unemployment in this country. The other reality is that since 2013, we have witnessed exponential growth in this sector. The student enrollment now is more than 600,000. A colleague from Kenya recently, in our discussion, made this observation about the challenges we face in this continent. He said high youth population, poor policy choices, and lack of comprehensive employment plans in many African countries, nations, precipitate the high rates of unemployment. So our failure to translate the bulge into usable human capital spells doom for us. I want to argue that it's time for action, and I want to point out that the government, in practice, is very committed in the provision of education. If you look at the budget for 2016-2017, it's not a challenge of money that this country faces, as you can see on these figures that I've portrayed out there. We have a budget for education in this country that is 297 billion. for this budget, and it's categorized across different sectors. But we're managing a system that needs agent attention. I looked recently at the Statistics SA report, and it tells us that in 2013, 99,000 school-going girl child fell pregnant. 99,000. In the same year, in 2013, 550,000 students wrote matric, and there were only 62,500 who passed with 50% on maths. And there was no outcry when it comes to those 99,000 who fell by the wayside. And the question that we do know, and the answer is that education is the only key pathway out of unemployment. And believe you me, most of those girls, for them to come back to the system is going to be very, very difficult. In 2011, government, private sector, and the community organizations, they signed what is known as National Skills Accord. I'm not sure whether we still remember that, because at times we signed a lot of these accords. And there was this commitment when it comes to issues of TVET colleges. There's now a new Seta mandate that is being discussed in supporting of the TVET colleges. And I was happy when I saw Professor Crack making his presentation here, because some years ago, our paths crossed when he was still with HSRC, when we look at the restructuring of these colleges, the TVET colleges. And a lot of reports were submitted to the department in terms of how this sector can move forward. But I'm also excited to see that they're still thinking, but my major challenge is that most of these documents end up like being nice policy documents. But this is a new Seta mandate. But I'm happy to say on behalf of the Association of this Principal of TVET colleges, we are entering a new partnership with FP&M Seta in terms of trying to make this a reality. What are we doing? We're informed by the current National Skills Development Strategy 3 that enjoins all those entities that are listed there in terms of the way forward. And this partnership is formed on that basis, which is contributing to the national economic growth, which is part of the vision of this Seta. And we want to argue that TVET colleges are intended to play a central role in bringing this, and we say, change moving forward. And the belief of this Seta, which made us to get into the agreement and agree with them, is that the only way to take this process forward is to make sure that you place the TVET sector at the center of this initiative that they are proposing, which are stronger linkages between the public education institutions, which is improving the quality of the lecturers, and also stimulating the continuous professional development among the TVET staff, amongst other things. We're also working on immediate and long-term goals of this partnership. We want to make sure that eventually TVET colleges among these young people become the sought-out centers of learning, but also employers look at them as providers of the fiber and processing sector relevant occupational directed program, so that they become valuable and many students get excited in taking up these programs. But we are convinced that we have to start by conducting a research, which we have already commissioned, and we'll be starting engaging with this research. But this research is informed by a simple purpose: to gather information which will inform and guide strategic and innovative partnership with TVET colleges, so as to enable the PFM Seta to deliver on its strategic mandate. And these are areas that we'll be focusing on. Those are 6 areas that I've listed there. And this is the plan that we have. And we're hoping to finish this research by the end of April 2017. And we want to argue, given all the work that has been done, that it's time now to look at the bigger picture, given the challenges that we face or facing us, which are unemployment issues, which are issues of lack of credibility of these colleges. And we're hoping that this research we'll be embarking on will add to the body of literature and also make us make sure that we deliver on what we need, especially for this sector and creation of employment moving forward. That's the end of my presentation, Mr. Ndoro.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Ngubane. I don't know if there are any questions that you want to ask. Maybe 1 or 2 very briefly. Okay, there's one there, lady in pink. Oh, yeah, we'll start there, and then we'll come to you. Sorry.
Good day, sir. My name is Bui Mukonyani. I'm from Balekane Laboratory Calibrations. The question I have is not for me, but it's for the interest of the students. You talk about the artisan, you talk about other skills, but then is there a way that you're trying to interest young people in such things like artisans and plumbing? Maybe at times they don't know what's the necessity of a plumber, but we need a plumber. You can imagine how dirty South Africa will be without plumbers. Thank you.
Okay. Let me take the other question, and then you can answer them both at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Gordon Tlali. Mine is, I don't think it's a question as such, but it's more of a comment. In your presentation, you spoke of the poorly qualified teachers in the TVET colleges. And my comment is that, or my experience with the TVET colleges is that when they're looking for teachers, they advertise posts. And the post, one of the requirements is you have to be registered with South African Educators SACE, you must state a SACE number. But now, when you look at that, the people that are qualified as teachers that have been to school to become teachers do not have industry experience. We had so many companies that have retrenched people who has experience, especially when it comes to the practical part of teaching. A teacher will rely on what he has read in the book, but the person can teach from the experience point of view. And I know that we don't like it to be compared with the previous government. There are things that they've done wrong, which are maybe 90%, but there are 10% that was done correctly. When I was trained as a telecom technician, in the morning I had theory, which was given by a person that was qualified. And in the afternoon I went for practical, which was actually not taught but demonstrated by a person that had the experience of doing the work but could not teach. And I think that is the method that maybe we should re-look at, because there are a lot of people that have not reached the retirement age, but they were retrenched, but they're sitting with experience and they've got nobody to share it with. Just because the requirement to get into the TVET college is a SACE number and they are not registered as teachers. Maybe don't take them as a theory teachers, but look at them giving the practical experience to our students. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So, if you briefly answer and comment on the comment, question, comment?
I think both questions are linked, but I'll answer it by saying that probably the issue you're raising around the qualification, the department can answer that question, but I'll give you my personal opinion, which is not informed by the policy. The reality of the situation is that I do not believe that the curriculum that is taught at the TVET colleges should be a centralized curriculum. Andre, in his presentation, spoke about the challenges at George. And I firmly believe that if there's a TVET college there, the curriculum there should be informed by the industry in that area. Let me give a simple example where I come from in Devon. There's a big Toyota plant, and Toyota has announced that they want to build the new double buckies in Prospectus factory. Right. And they want to bump up the number of employees from 3,000 to 8,000. Toyota core business is to build cars. It's not to train staff. On the doorstep of Toyota, there's Coastal College and the Langene College with all the infrastructure. But there's just disjuncture between the curriculum provided at those colleges and Toyota. The curriculum comes somewhere in Pretoria, which has got nothing to do with what is happening there locally. So there's a serious need of rethinking how curriculum is delivered in our colleges if we do want to address the issues of employment and skills.